We're on the hill in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a mid-February showdown in Conference USA. The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky are the hottest team in the conference, just a half game back of the top spot. Today they welcome the Aggies of New Mexico State, who are 5-5 in the conference and knocked off the Hilltoppers when they met last month. It's a senior day ceremony for three Hilltoppers this afternoon as these two teams get their rematch, which was won in Las Cruces by the Aggies a few weeks ago. Heading down the final stretch here at Conference USA, should be a good matchup today as we welcome you inside EA Diddle Arena. And thanks so much for joining us here today along with Craig McCormick. It's Jeff M. here with you. Craig, both of these teams coming off very physical games recently. They had a physical game against each other. We expect bodies to be flying today.
Exactly. Western Kentucky played El Paso the other night. Very physical game, and sometimes, you know, to back it up with another physical game, it can be very stressful, not only from the physical side, but the mental side.
For the Aggies, Jaden Harris has gone from important reserve to dynamic starter. How dangerous is he?
He sure has. He's been starting the last 6 games. The last 2 games against Middle Tennessee and Texas El Paso, he had 20 points and 22 points, so he's really stepped up his game. And
Don McHenry, the reigning Conference USA Player of the Week, is making everything happen right now for the Toppers.
You know, that's interesting about Don McHenry. Western's point guard went down early in the year, so he had to move over from the 2 spot to handle the point guards, and he's really settled into that over the last 5 games. He's averaging 22.5 points a game, so he's really matured into that role.
Aggies 11-14 overall, 5-5 in the conference. There is Jason Hooten in his first year with a brand new group. 13 years as the head coach at Sam Houston, led them to an NIT win a year ago. And now Steve Lutz in his first year on the hill after several years as a Purdue assistant and then a terrific run at Texas A&M Corpus Christi the last 2 years, including an NCAA tournament win there last year. Our officials are Craig Murley, Chris Hudson, and James Duke. Hilltoppers are going to wear the alternate gray as the home team today. The Aggies on the road in crimson, and off we go here in Bowling Green in Conference USA. Jordan Rawls making a return here to Bowling Green, the former Hilltopper, running point these days for the Aggies. He is second in the conference in assist to turnover ratio. This is Christian Cook, dangerous shooter. Now Jaden Harris, the guy we spotlighted in the open, over on the wing. Shot clock down to 5. Harris will pull the trigger. And Babacar Faye inside to grab the rebound for the Hilltoppers.
And you saw New Mexico State, they really are deliberate on the offensive side. They want to eat up some of the clock, play a little bit more of a controlled style of a game.
And that is compared to the very much up-tempo Hilltoppers. Brandon Newman, one of the 3 seniors being honored today for the Hilltoppers. Here's a corner pocket triple by Marshall that's off the mark. Western Kentucky does have another home game yet, but it's a weeknight, so they wanted a weekend game to honor Rodney Howard, Brandon Newman, and Dante Allen. So it is senior day today, even though they will have at least one more game here inside Diddle Arena. Jordan Rawls in the homecoming, off the mark.
You mentioned Jordan Rawls. He actually had a couple stints here with Western Kentucky. Had a break in between at Georgia State, so he's familiar with this arena.
Dante Allen, the Kentucky transfer, hit the 3, but it stepped out of bounds. So we are still scoreless. The Hilltoppers team beat UTEP in this building on Thursday, 90-80. And New Mexico State had a big second half lead that slipped away at Middle Tennessee State. And they suffered a 73-62 loss despite leading by as many as 17 in the second half.
You know, you mentioned the first meeting between these 2 clubs. It was at Las Cruces, and Western Kentucky actually had a 23-point first half lead, up by 10 at half and lost by 2. So that tells you that this team is capable of coming back and fighting through it.
Femi Udakali on the miss there for the Aggies, coming off a double-double the other night against Middle Tennessee State. Here's Babacar Faye. Inside, the left hook, no. He goes for his own rebound, and it's grabbed by Christian Cook.
You know, Western Kentucky has put a little bit more focus in trying to get the ball into the post, not only to Faye, but also to their other big player, Howard. They've done a good job of using those 2 Howard's really stepped up his game. He's got a couple nice little jump hooks over his right or left shoulder that he's been effective with.
Casey Ezeagu, the big man inside for the Aggies, with Udakali down there too. Here's Rawls. Open out of the corner, it's Udakali, and he couldn't hit it. Volleyballed out though, kept alive by Ezeagu. Harris will try. Still scoreless.
Ezeagu is a good-sized player out there.
Not typically a three-point threat. Allen will try. And we remain scoreless. About 3 minutes in here as Udakali brings it up for New Mexico State.
Yeah, that's unusual for Western Kentucky. As we said, you know, they average 80 points a game, so that's unusual 3-minute drought.
Harris has some points in this ball game now. Jaden Harris, 22 against Middle Tennessee State the other night. He hit 4 threes against the Hilltoppers last month and had 18 off the bench. This is a New Mexico State team that had 2 starters in that game against WKU last time that they don't have anymore. Robert Carpenter and Brandon Suggs. It's been a tumultuous season at times for the Aggies. Carpenter suspended indefinitely. Suggs no longer with the team either, so they've had to replace those starters. Now a foul that's going to be called on the floor as Allen was trying to take it to the hoop. 4 seconds on the shot clock. So you're talking about an Aggies team that's got guys like Harris who've emerged as starters, having to adapt that lineup at times. And yet here they are, brand new roster, first-year head coach, and down the stretch they're 5-5. They are right in the thick of this 9-team conference. And Allen, by the way, was in the act of shooting. He'll get 2 free throws here.
No, they went ahead and counted the
continuation. He got the and one.
Sure
wow.
Did. You know, and Coach Hooten over there, he's a very experienced player. What was he, 13 years at Sam Houston State? So he's really done an excellent job molding all of these newcomers into what he's been able to produce so far this year.
Rawls dishing to Harris. Hilltoppers in a man-to-man.
Which is typical for them.
Harris getting free at the foul line. Too strong though. Allen had it, lost it. Cook will try, and that's good. Christian Cook is another one of their shooters.
Well, that's that's at least their second, maybe their third offensive rebound that they've had an extra possession.
There's Don McHenry with his first basket of the day.
He's a left-handed player. Did a good job using the strong side.
So smooth, so dynamic, going to both sides, can score at all levels. The reigning Conference USA Player of the Week. And there's a big slam inside by Udakali.
Poor defense by Western Kentucky for giving up the baseline.
Femi Udakali, Brooklyn native. Here's Newman. He's got it. Well, we went 3 minutes without points. Now they're looking much more comfortable.
Yeah, this is a better pace of play right now.
1 point advantage for the Hilltoppers. Both teams looking to get some subs in at the next stoppage.
You mentioned Rawls. He's kind of the leader for this squad, averaging 3.9 assists per game. So he does a good job of distributing and finding players.
Just like that, finds Udakali in the corner. Udakali's got an early 5, and it's 10-8 New Mexico State. Here's Newman on the take, lost it. Again, we expect a very physical game today with the way these two teams are coming off their last game. Nice move inside by Fay. He's got his first points of the afternoon.
And he's really slowed his game down as the season progressed. Early on the year, he was trying to get too fast in the post area. And now since he's settled down, he's able to take his time and has a little bit more moves on the inside.
These two teams have combined to make their last 7 field goals. Here's Rawls out of the corner. And there's a miss by somebody. From way out, Allen partially blocked and then grabbed inside by Rawls. Boy, they're going back and forth right now. Udakali on the hard take, draws a foul.
strong play by Udo-Kali because he went up against two Hilltopper players.
Off to a good start. Offenses are flowing here in Bowling Green. Already under 14 minutes in the first half, and the Aggies on the road lead by a pair. Back with you here inside Diddle Arena. New Mexico State on the road with an early 2-point advantage against the Hilltoppers. And Craig, it took a few minutes for both of these teams to find it, and now offensively they look very smooth, and Femi Udo-Kali is off to a good start for the Aggies.
He sure is. He made a strong drive on the baseline there, and then steps back for the three. That's something that he really hasn't done all that much this year. He's only made 7 threes on the year, but here he's made down a couple so far in this game.
And again, we talk about the tumultuous year it's been at times for New Mexico State. Udo-Kali is another guy like Jaden Harris who came off the bench the first time these two teams met. Now he's a starter since they're without Carpenter and Suggs. And Udo-Kali is at the line now looking for an and one opportunity after Brandon Newman had that foul before the stoppage.
Wholesale substitutions here for Western Kentucky. 4 new players in. Newman, the only one.
Christian Lander came back the other night after missing several games with concussion issues. Enoch Colombe in the lineup as well for the Hilltoppers, and Rodney Howard is now the man inside with Babacar Faye resting.
You mentioned Lander. Of course, he led Western Kentucky in their first meeting with 19 points. But he's trying to figure himself back after being out for, I think, 6 games with that concussion protocol.
Howard inside, lowers the shoulder, and a jump ball is called. Possession arrow is going to keep it with the Toppers. And now the Aggies will take Udo-Kali out. And they'll bring Tanaj Petway in off the bench, a senior out of Worcester, Massachusetts, and a Stony Brook transfer.
That was kind of an odd tie-up and a jump ball.
Here's Jack Edlin. Finds Newman, likes that top of the key. The three, though, no good. And Jalen Jackson Posey, the rebound for the Aggies.
Yeah, New Mexico State's doing a good job of keeping the Toppers off the offensive boards.
It took so long to get that under 16 timeout. Not surprising that both teams subbed out several players. I'm sure there were several guys who needed a breather.
Well, and Coach Lutz, we've got Edlin handling the point guard now with McHenry being out, where he's trying to get McHenry a few more breaks during the game because he's been playing quite a few minutes of late.
McHenry does so much for the Hilltoppers when he is in there. Averages about 28 minutes a game. There's Colombe for 2.
One of the easier layups you'll get against this New Mexico State squad with Harris falling down.
And Edlin trying to make life tough there on Rawls to get it across. Tied at 12. Hilltoppers have hit 5 of their last 7 shots. And now picked off. Here comes Colombe to the other end, adjusts on the pass from Edlin and scores.
You almost thought he was going to lead them too far out in front and lead to a turnover, but Colombe was able to run it down.
Western Kentucky, the highest scoring team in Conference USA, 37th in the country in points per game. They're also the top rebounding team in Conference USA. Very good at three-point defense as Harris travels. So keep an eye on the three-point shooting today for the Aggies. Right now it's 14-12. Hilltoppers under 12 to go here on the Hill. $11:40 to go first half. Western Kentucky on top of New Mexico State 14-12. Jeff M., Craig McCormick, and our great ESPN Plus crew back with you here today. Here's an updated look at the Conference USA standings going into today. Now, Western Kentucky's got 5 games left. New Mexico State has 6 games left, but you can see the Hilltoppers just a half game back. Louisiana Tech off to an early lead today against FIU. A few more games tonight around the conference, but look at New Mexico State, one of several newcomers in the conference this year, and right in the thick of it at 5-5. It is bunched up, and Craig, I feel like going into the year, a lot of teams, especially with some of the teams no longer in the conference, probably felt like this was their conference to go grab this year.
Exactly, and you know, New Mexico State being 5-5. New Mexico State being 5-5 in conference play, but they're 0 for 12 on the road. So, you know, they're trying to break that streak from their end.
Tegan Moore in the game for the Hilltoppers, and a foul on the floor. We saw continuation early. It's not going to happen this time, and it'll be out of bounds for the Hilltoppers after Jalen Jackson Posey picks up the foul. Second team foul on the Aggies. And Steve Lutz checking something with the officials. The shot clock had reset. Now they've got it at 20. Colombe swatted away. Ezeagu inside. Lander thought about it, now puts it on the floor. Moore had a big night on Thursday against UTEP. He is met at the rim. And that's where we talked about the physicality we expect in this game. Both of these teams were part of very physical matchups on Thursday. And that's part of the Aggies brand. They want you to know you're going to get contact if you go to the rim. Now, Uducali gets fouled by Jack Edlin.
Well, I think
that's what Rodney Howard.
Yeah, I think that's what Coach Hooten, that's kind of what he's known for, is that defensive intensity. And they will contest shots, no doubt.
Aggies have not scored in the last 2.5 minutes, yet they're still down by just a couple.
Yeah, they've scored 12, but you had Uducali and Harris with 7 and 5, so those two players have all their points.
Aggies have already put up 8 3-point attempts in this game. They average 6 made threes per game. Again, Western Kentucky very good at three-point defense. Uducali gets fouled and got the basket. Femi Uducali, 11 points per game. The Seton Hall transfer having a good start to this game. He's already got 9.
Yeah, he knew that he had the matchup against Edlin where he could continue to take it into the paint and raise up over top of them.
Now, Harris is on the bench for New Mexico State with 5. Of the current players on the floor for the Aggies, Uducali is the only guy who has scored so far. He's doing it all right now. We're tied at 14. 10.5 to go in the first half. Lander got the edge on his man. Extra pass. Moore will try. In and out for Tegan Moore.
Good rotation with the ball by Western Kentucky, but shot just didn't go. Boy, they're really battling on the inside.
Yeah, Ezeagu and Colombe going at it. And Colombe reacting because Ezeagu has just been called for a foul. Let's see, Craig.
Yeah, there were some arms going back and forth in there. As you can see, the second time that Ezeagu used his arm is when he got caught.
It feels like however the officials measure the physicality today is going to make a big difference because
it sure is.
Both teams want to bang inside.
You know what, and you mentioned Western Kentucky had a physical game against Texas El Paso the other night. It's one of those things, it seems like, that as the season progresses, we're only a few weeks out from conference tournaments, and they start letting them play a little bit more.
Rodney Howard has just been called for an offensive foul. He's going to come out. He's got 2. And that was as he was trying to create some separation out around the perimeter. Edlin comes out as well. So Marshall's back in, McHenry's back in, Fay is in there, along with Moore and Lander. Couple of minutes for the Hilltoppers without any points. Aggies ball. Here's Uducali against Marshall. Goes inside. Ezeagu scores. Man, he is a load to handle inside.
He sure is. He has the weight difference against Fay.
He's been at UTEP. He's been at Kansas State. Then he was at Sam Houston last year. Came over with Jason Hooten to join the Aggies this year. Casey Ezeagu, native of the Bahamas, went to prep school in Ontario, Canada. Petway picks up a foul. And McHenry will trigger. Petway comes out, and the Aggies are going to get Jaden Harris back in. Jackson Posey comes out as well. .20 on the shot clock. Hilltoppers down by 2. McHenry to Marshall. Nice move inside by Marshall, but he couldn't finish. Hilltoppers have had a couple possessions like that where they do everything right but make the basket.
Yeah, Udukali looked like he was trying to go for the steal, and that opened up the door for Marshall.
And Harris at the other end nails the three.
That's kind of what he's been doing of late, isn't it?
42% three-point shooter on the year. McHenry inside, jump ball call. And possession arrow is going to give it right back to New Mexico State.
New Mexico State did a great job of closing in on McHenry there. Like we said, they attack the basketball. They do a good job of keeping in front of, as a defender, staying in front.
Aggies are on a 7-0 run right now. Cook got free for a long two. Harris, the offensive rebound, hits the fadeaway.
You know, I mentioned it earlier, New Mexico State's doing a really good job getting second chance opportunities.
Here's Moore out of the corner. That's a big one for the Hilltoppers.
You know, Keegan Moore, he's been getting some extra minutes of late. And the other night he had a career high, well, he was a freshman, but he scored 16 points against Texas El Paso, and he's really kind of starting to develop a role with this ball club.
He's one of the guys that got more minutes when Lander was out and seemed to take advantage of it.
Yeah. You know, sometimes like that, building more confidence, I would say.
McHenry, that one missed it badly, and it's going to go out of bounds. You know, we're timeout on the floor. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half, and New Mexico State on the road with a 4-point lead over the Hilltoppers. New teams this year in Conference USA, and that's not the only thing new for them. They've got an entirely new roster. They are the only team in Division I basketball that does not have a single returning player from their team of a year ago. Jason Hooten has built a brand new roster in his first year in Las Cruces. And like we said, they are 5-5 in the conference. They are a tough team. They've had to deal with some players who were with them early that aren't on the team anymore. And here they are down the stretch, right in the middle of a tight conference race. Pretty impressive.
It sure is. You know, New Mexico State had some issues last year that led to this complete revamping of their men's basketball program.
Jason Hooten's talked about it this year too. He says, I don't care what my group is as long as they're here and they want to play. Whoever I've got, that's what I'm going with.
And you can see the effort out there.
Yep.
By him.
Here's Petway on the take. Contact with Fay, and it didn't go down. It got tipped around, and Ezeagu has two more. Boy, they are relentless inside.
They sure are. I don't know, maybe their 5th offensive rebound now, 5 or 6.
Yep, right you are. They are crushing Western right now on the offensive boards. Allen got free with some contact. Fay volleyballs it out, and it's grabbed by Cook.
Yeah, that forearm by Allen helped him give him some space.
Numbers for the Aggies, and now the Hilltoppers get back. Here's Ezeagu, who's got a size mismatch on Newman. Rawls. There's the kick out. Harris again. That one didn't go down. Look at Ezeagu get up above Marshall. Another offensive rebound. And Rawls takes advantage, and these Aggies have come to play today.
Boy, Ezeagu, man, he just uses his strength inside to push the Western Kentucky centers around.
Largest lead of the day for either side, and now Newman gets fouled by Petway. And that's 2 on Tanaj Petway. Petway had 19 against the Hilltoppers when they met the first time. He had 4 threes off the bench. And Craig mentioned it earlier, but it was a big lead that the Hilltoppers let slip in that first meeting. And then you think of the other night, the Aggies had a huge deficit against, or I'm sorry, a huge lead against Middle Tennessee State. And
14.
They let that slip away. They've seen all sides of large disparities in the score this year.
You know, you briefly mentioned that first meeting of these two ball clubs. One of the more interesting things was New Mexico State, 52 of their 72 points in that game all came off the bench. So, you know, this club continues to just turn to figure out who they are.
Yeah. And they're not as deep now because they don't have Carpenter and they don't have Suggs. There's a foul called right before what was going to be a shot clock violation. And looks like Craig Murley is going over to the table to double check this for an official review. The Aggies wanted a shot clock violation, but it sounded like the whistle came right before the clock expired. Let's see here. Lander put up the three. Maybe they're checking if it hit the iron or not, which would have reset the shot clock.
Yeah, it definitely came off the backboard, but the question is, did it ding the rim? It was very, very close.
9-point lead right now for New Mexico State. They're on a 14-3 run over the last 4.5 minutes. Hilltoppers won for their last 7. Let's take another look and see whether this hit the rim or not. I don't think it did there.
No, because it looked like it came clean off the backboard without redirecting the basketball.
So that would not have reset the clock. And then, was there a foul called? We're going to get an explanation here. They're checking to see if there was a shot clock violation before the foul. And it looks like they're going to award the foul call before the violation. That's the way it was whistled in real time. That's the way it felt. It went down.
So it wasn't so much of the shot itself, it was the play after the ball came off the backboard.
Yes, and whether or not Newman got fouled before that shot clock went to 0. So Brandon Newman gets free throws, and he is 72% on the year. He's one of the 3 Hilltoppers being honored today here on Senior Day. The foul was on Harris, his first.
And Newman's familiarity with Coach Lutz goes back to when Coach Lutz was an assistant at Purdue, is where Newman started his basketball career.
Yeah, he had 3 seasons and 4 years with the Boilermakers.
Edlin doing a good job staying in front of Rawls.
Cook's going to try from way out. And a big box out there by Colombe. Got to figure guys like Colombe and Howard are going to be important today inside for the Hilltoppers, along with, as usual, Babacar Faye.
Yeah, you mentioned Howard. Of course, his minutes are going to be limited the remaining of this first half with 2 fouls.
Allen couldn't find the stroke there on the 3. Aggies ball leading by 8.
You know, Allen is a very good 3-point shooter, but he's been inconsistent throughout the season, too.
And a 5-second call against Udikali.
Yeah, it looks like the Hilltoppers are really picking up the pace here on the defensive side of the ball. They rebounded. 2 of them went after the last defensive rebound to attack that. This time they're attacking with a good trap in the corner. Coach Lutz wants them to play a little faster offensively here. Get to their tempo. Right now, Western Kentucky is forced into New Mexico State's tempo.
There's Colombe. He's got 6 now. Yeah, you got 5 minutes left in the first half. Don McHenry's only got 2 points. Supporting Cass trying to step up in a 6-point game right now.
Well, and coincidentally, McHenry went 0 for 8 against us in their first meeting and only scored 1 point.
Yep, 1 point. How hard is that to believe, especially right now with the way Don's been playing lately. Cook misses there. Aggies are 4 out of 13 from downtown here in the first half. Here's McHenry now against Cook. 1-on-1. Thought about the 3. Colombe on the take. Good hands by Jackson Posey to take it away.
Well,
and Edlin comes in from behind, and Jackson Posey was out of bounds.
Another hustle play by Edlin there to tap the ball away. But
well, that'll earn you more minutes with your head coach, won't it?
It sure will.
That's
just hustle coming from behind. Oh, was able to knock it off his foot. But you know, down at the other end, Colombe went tried to drive to the basket, and you really have to play strong with the basketball against New Mexico State because they do a good job of digging and going for the basketball.
Well, the way this first half has unfolded, it is favoring New Mexico State. Remember, the Hilltoppers average 80 points per game. They've scored 20. Fay out to McHenry, and a foul on Petway, and now that's 3 on Tanaj Petway, and he'll be going to the bench, you would certainly figure. Yep. And they're going to bring Keelan Dorsey in, the only true freshman on this New Mexico State transfer-heavy roster.
Yeah, McHenry, Western Kentucky is in the bonus now, so he'll shoot the 1-and-1.
Harris has 2, Petway's got 3, and Jackson Posey with a foul, and McHenry picks up his 3rd point of the day. Don McHenry's game is so dynamic, and part of it is at the free throw line. He is 86%, second best in the conference at the stripe. And in a physical game, you got to figure that we could see a lot of free throw attempts in a game like this, depending on how it's called. There have only been 6 free throw attempts combined in the first half.
You know, you mentioned McHenry. He can drive either way. It's right, left. He can shoot mid-range floaters. He can stop, drop back, knock down the 3, but he's very good at attacking off the dribble.
No points for the Aggies in the last 3 minutes. Let's see if they change that here. Odukalli's got it with 10 to shoot. He's got Fay way away from the basket. Takes him. Missed the bunny. Tipped in though, and the Aggies get 2 on the offensive rebound. And they credit it to Odukalli, who's got 11 now in the first half.
It sure looked like the big guy was the one that tapped it in though.
Here's Moore on the take. He lost it on the way up.
Good hustle by Rawls to keep it alive. Tap it back in.
6-point lead for New Mexico State. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Aggies were in the Western Athletic Conference last year. 2-16 last year in the WAC. You really can't look into that too much though. Brand new roster this year with Jason Hooten taking over. This ball out of bounds. And the teams are disagreeing on who's going to get it out of the timeout. We've got a timeout on the floor, under 3 to go. The Aggies holding on to a 6-point lead on the road. A physical, low-scoring first half so far here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. New Mexico State on the road, leading Western Kentucky 28-22. This is the 12th meeting all-time between the two schools. Their series began back in 1956, and until a few weeks ago, Craig, they'd not played each other since 2005, but there is a history for these two teams.
Yeah, you mentioned that New Mexico State left the Western Athletic Conference after 18 years, but prior to that, they were in the Sun Belt Conference, which Western was a long-standing member of the Sun Belt. So they did have some history of playing each other twice in a season until the departure of New Mexico State.
Hilltoppers lead the all-time series 9-2, including 7-0 in this building. Out of the timeout, Aggies ball, and some playing time here off the bench for B.J. Maribel. Colombe brings it across. Tegan Moore on the take, draws the foul and scores.
Tegan Moore does a good job of slowing his pace down when he makes those drives to the basket. But you know, here we have Tegan Moore splitting the two Aggie defenders for the and one.
73% at the line. He converts. Feels like the Hilltoppers needed something to kind of engage this big crowd.
Yeah, you mentioned Maribel being in the game. He had very limited minutes so far this year. So you see Coach Lutz is trying to look for a change of dynamics from his team.
Got Fay on the bench right now. Newman on the bench. A lot of reserves in there for the Hilltoppers alongside Don McHenry and Dante Allen. Odukalli to the corner. Jackson Posey hits a three and the Aggies find a big answer. 6-point lead. Moore again. 2 more for Tegan Moore.
He was able to play through the contact, wasn't he?
Looking so much more comfortable. Craig, is it about this time in the year where a true freshman probably would feel like he's got kind of the handle on college basketball?
I believe so. And Tegan Moore is an honors college student here. He's in the honors program here at Western Kentucky, so he's a very intellectual player. And I think he's just figuring out his role with this team.
Christian Cook had that basket. McHenry all the way in, and there's Don McHenry's second field goal.
Well, left-handed player going strong to his right, was able to flip it back in.
We're also in this era of college basketball where it's hard to get a lot of minutes as a true freshman. You don't see it very often as a timeout is taken. 1:22 to go first half, and we'll keep it here with the Aggies leading by 4. You just don't see a lot of true freshmen getting a lot of time because there are so many transfers and grad students and fifth-year seniors in this post-COVID era. So a guy like Tegan Moore fighting and earning more minutes, really coming along late in the year for the Hilltoppers.
You know, that was one thing that Coach Lutz wanted to make a point when he got the job here at Western Kentucky, was to try and recruit the state. And that's where Tegan Moore came out of, the eastern part of the state.
Jack Edlin out of Louisville, true freshman, getting minutes for the Hilltoppers as well. Steve Lutz knows this territory very well with his years at Purdue, and you got the Indiana transfer in Christian Lander, the Purdue transfer in Brandon Allen, Brandon Newman rather, Dante Allen at Kentucky last year. So the Indiana, Kentucky area very well known for Steve Lutz, given his time at Purdue. Aggies ball, their lead is 4. Under 90 seconds to go before halftime.
And they've been successful from the three-point range. They've nailed 5 of those so far in the first half. They had 12 in the first meeting between these two clubs.
Cook is one of their shooters. Shot clock down to 5. Fades away out of a double team. Ball's loose, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. A good defensive stand by Western Kentucky, and it felt like the Aggies really weren't sure what to do there.
No, you know, you saw Cook driving to the basket, but, you know, more than 50% of his shots are from three-point range, and he's really kind of playing that mid-range game versus one of his strengths.
Both teams have turned it over 7 times in the first half. Both teams shooting in the mid-40s with their field goal percentage. It's a 4-point difference. Moore. Tegan Moore again, taking matters into his own hands. 10 in the first half for the freshman.
Feeling very comfortable in there. Really helps to get this crowd going for Western Kentucky.
About a 12-second difference. McHenry the steal. Falls down, keeps it alive, and will call a timeout.
Might have got away with a walk there after falling down, but smart enough to go ahead and take the timeout.
25.4 to go. This is a big crowd here at Diddle Arena today. Senior day for the Hilltoppers. And they got up on their feet with that energy from the McHenry steal. Here's another look. Let's see if, to your point, McHenry did indeed get away with one. Well, he kept the dribble for a second. Close call.
But he did a great job of leaving his player and coming from the backside and being able to steal that ball away. And that's what Coach Lutz wants to do. He wants to play hard-nosed, tough defense and then a fast-paced offense. And I think he's probably been displeased with his ball club early in this contest because of the number of offensive rebounds they've given up and just not really having that intensity of what he desires. This Western Kentucky club, they've kind of gone through that in spurts this year, and then they've kind of come out with a different fire a lot of times in the second half.
So 25.4 on the clock. How do you think the Hilltoppers approach this final possession of the half?
Well, you know, the shot clock's in their favor, so, you know, you bleed it down into that 5-second range, I would think, because you sure don't want to give New Mexico State another opportunity to score.
Moore, McHenry, Allen, Fay, and Colombe in the lineup.
Yeah, see if you can tie it up or take a 1-point lead. That'd be a successful first half for Western Kentucky to pull this game even.
They've not led since we were 8 minutes into the game. McHenry unable to tie it up. Gets another chance. Now it's tied. And that'll take us to halftime. Odukali hit the deck and is still down for the Aggies as Don McHenry and the Hilltoppers celebrate their close of the first half. We figured it would be physical, and it was a grinded out first half as we send it to halftime coverage, 33-all. Conference USA showdown in mid-February, and it's a battle so far, knotted at 33 apiece. Tied at 33 as we wind down halftime here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Hilltoppers and Aggies in a Conference USA matchup that's had a lot of physicality so far. And we take a look at some of the first half highlights. Jaden Harris and Femi Odukali getting a lot of it done right now for New Mexico State, Craig.
Yeah, Odukali ended up with 11 first half points, but 9 of those came very early in the first half when he was having a lot of success driving the ball, very strong to the basket, backing in, able to pull up over the smaller Edlin at that time, and once again, able to use his left hand and get the follow-up.
Two guys who are starters now that were coming off the bench for this Aggies team. The first time these two teams met, which again was a win for the Aggies in Las Cruces about a month ago. That was Harris out of the corner. He's one of their shooters. He had 22 against Middle Tennessee State on Thursday. Offensive rebounding, a big part of the first half for New Mexico State. And then the Hilltoppers, Tegan Moore and Enoch Columbe. Maybe not the first two you're always going to think of, but they got a lot of it done for the Toppers in that first half.
Yeah, especially Tegan Moore by taking the ball to the basket. He was very successful in using just kind of his patient driving capabilities that he has to be able to deliver shots like that. Was able to split the defenders, take a little contact, knock down the basket there with a little floater.
Tyrone Marshall did not score in that first half. Don McHenry, thanks to some free throws, had 8 points in the first half. Jack Edlin with a big steal. This was Columbe scoring 2 of his 6 in that first half. The Hilltoppers, it felt like, Craig, were trying to find any kind of lineup mix that they could to get something done.
Yeah, we saw some different lineups, even some different players that hadn't played a whole lot. Coach Lutz was looking for something and got a spark there right toward the end of the first half.
Again, here are the Conference USA standings going into today. Now, Louisiana Tech is up 17 at the half against FIU, so safely presume they'll go to 8-3. Sam Houston 7-3 going into the day. If you're Western Kentucky, you do face La Tech one more time. You're done with Sam Houston
at home.
Yeah, at home, and New Mexico State at 5-5. Still room to grow for the Aggies in that middle of the conference.
And Western Kentucky had an impressive victory on the road against this Louisiana Tech team that's leading the league. That was Louisiana Tech's first home loss of the season that Western was able to deliver to them.
Sam Houston 7-3, these Aggies 5-5, Liberty is 5-5. A lot of the newcomers have really made a big difference in the middle to upper part of the standings.
Well, and here's Liberty that was projected to be the preseason pick for the conference.
Yep.
And they opened up the season with I know at least 2 losses, if not 3 in conference, so they've battled themselves back too.
And Middle Tennessee State was the other presumed top of the conference team in the preseason. Some injuries have changed that for the Blue Raiders, and Western Kentucky does have Middle Tennessee coming up again on the schedule, but yeah, it's a little bit different at the top compared to the preseason rankings, which is why they call it the preseason.
Well, with all the new faces, new coaches, and new teams, that was a hard one to call.
Hard to vote on, right?
Yes.
Newman on the miss. It's Rawls in his Western Kentucky homecoming facing some former teammates. Running point right now for the Aggies. Tied at 33. And again, New Mexico State led by as many as 9 in that first half. Jordan Rawls had it stripped away. Goes to the floor to get it back. And now here come the Hilltoppers with numbers. Newman inside, contact and scores. And we've got an injury back at the other end. Jordan Rawls is down.
I didn't see what happened there, Jeff, but he's kind of grimacing in a little pain in the lower portion of his body, mid portion of his body.
Chattanooga, Tennessee native. 2 different stints with the Hilltoppers, Georgia State in between. He knows a lot of guys on the other side. He went down to the floor and then took a shot. Looked like in the upper body a little bit, the way he reacted. He's still kind of hunched over as the athletic training staff works with him over near the sideline. He's going to take a seat, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, Western player was reaching in there. As you said, it looked like more of he pulled his arm, shoulder area or so forth.
This is not a particularly deep Aggies team because of some guys that are off the team who were on it earlier, like Robert Carpenter and Brandon Suggs. You got Petway in there with 3 fouls, and Odu Cali trying to do some work. Loose ball, Odu Cali gets it back. And there is Petway out of the corner, playing with those 3 fouls, and then Ezeagu inside commits the foul on Dante Allen.
You think Coach Lutz might have pushed the button on his squad here at halftime, because we saw Newman make a very impressive strong drive down on one end. Down on the defensive end, they've picked up the pace. That's Western Kentucky.
Newman, here's Marshall, who did not score in that first half. Allen's only got 3 so far. A Hilltoppers team that averages 80. Right now sitting on 35. McHenry scores. He's been known to have big second halves.
He sure has. And that's part of his game right there, is to get into the lane with a little floater. Good jump stop, goes straight up, knocks the shot down.
Terrific touch, and the reigning conference player of the week, McHenry, giving the Hilltoppers a 4-point lead, and the Aggies are going to take a timeout. We'll take one with them. Just over 18 minutes to go in the ball game, and the Hilltoppers back in front, taking a 4-point lead as Jason Hooten and New Mexico State regroup. Hilltoppers leading New Mexico State 37-33. WKU's got all 4 in the second half. Don McHenry's got a couple of them. He averages 16 a game. He's up to 10 now. He's looking for his 6th consecutive 20-plus point game. Don't count him out, that's for sure.
No, not at all. He had a slow start to this ball game, but then things started clicking for him toward the end of the first half and came in with this nice drive and jumper in the lane.
He had 25 points and 5 assists on Thursday in their win over UTEP. So the Aggies now need a bucket here. 2 minutes into the second half. They took a quick timeout to regroup. Petway's still in there. He's got the ball right now, playing with 3 fouls. He's on the take. He finds Ezeagu, who lost it, and a foul is called. And it's going to be against the Hilltoppers.
Looks like Newman might have reached down on him.
Well, they've given it to McHenry, which is actually a break for the Hilltoppers, if that is indeed what they call. Let's see here. Yep, I think it's on that strip attempt by McHenry, who picks up his first. If it had been Newman, that would have been his second. So Hilltoppers are fine with that. Femi Odukali gets the screen from Ezeagu.
Looks like Western Kentucky has extended their defensive pressure after New Mexico State made those 5 3-pointers in the first half.
And that's Petway's first basket. Allen slams one home.
Well, that was unusual weak defense for New Mexico State to open up the lane for Allen.
Just a breakdown, and now it's 39-35 Hilltoppers. Marshall is really trying to prevent Odukali from getting a touch here. Harris looking to go inside. Good defense by Fay. And there was a tug on the jersey and a foul being called against KC Ezeagu, and he's got 3 now. So you want to play physically if you're the Aggies, but you're not exceptionally deep, and now they've got 2 key guys trying to play through 3 fouls. And one of them actually will come out. Petway is going to leave, and they'll bring Jonathan Kanyanga in the game. Ezeagu is going to come out too. So much for that point I was making about playing through 3 fouls. They're going to take both of them out. There they go.
Yep, that's right.
You have to, right? I mean, 17 minutes left in the game.
Exactly. And Coach Lutz has to be pleased with his squad here in the first 3 minutes with the intensity that they're playing with on both ends.
McHenry gets doubled. Here's Marshall looking for the scoring column. Into Fay, who got loose and scores.
Boy, Dante Allen was excited, jumping up and down after making a great entry pass into Fay.
Fay had a double-double on Thursday against UTEP, his first in conference play. He's got 4 points in the game now, and the Hilltoppers lead by 6. Odukali on the take, draws a foul. And it looks like they've called it on Tyrone Marshall, his first. And that's 2 team fouls against the Hilltoppers. And free throws here for Femi Odukali. He gets to the line a lot. He is 6th in the conference in free throw attempts. 55%. Looked pretty on that one.
Nothing but the bottom. Yeah, he does a great job of driving, under control. That time he tried to throw it back up with his left hand to avoid the possible of a block shot. He's got the strength. He's got the size and strength to be able to take it to the basket.
Pitt, Seton Hall, and now New Mexico State, the college path for Femi Odukali, the Brooklyn native. He's guarding Marshall now. Rawls back in there. Good sign for the Aggies after getting hurt a couple of minutes ago. And now another whistle. Tightened up a little bit, it feels like, with the whistles here in the second half.
Yeah, we mentioned neither team really attempted too many foul shots in the first half. But Western Kentucky seems like they are using these off screens better in the second half to try to position themselves for the catch of the ball.
Fay against Kanyanga. Nice move by Fay and one.
Boy, wow. Nice spinning move. I think he feels more comfortable, obviously not going against the bigger. Yeah, there's Fay with that. Avoiding the strip with the help coming over. Looks like Cook tried to come over and get it, but wasn't able to. Nice use of the left hand going up and over the rim, protecting it.
And this gets very interesting now for New Mexico State because Kanyanga with the 2 fouls is out. So they brought Ezeagu back in, and he's got 3. And they probably feel like with Fay playing the way he is inside, they kind of have no choice but to get a big body back in there.
Yeah, because you don't want to allow Fay to get into a comfort zone, and I think that's what he was starting to do, especially with the move that he just displayed.
Hilltoppers have made their last 5 shots. They've opened up an 8-point lead. This feels like a big possession here for New Mexico State. Cook, back for Udukali. Harris with 10 to shoot. Crowd getting into it. Harris on the take. Tough shot, and he scores. Man, did the Aggies need that.
They sure did, because it was 11-3 scoring here in the second half until that basket.
Harris has 10. Marshall's on the take. Fay gets the offensive rebound. Lost it, gets it back, swatted away by Odukali, who then took a shot and has fallen down.
Inadvertently to the face from
Fay.
Oh
man, we've got bodies flying right now. The intensity has ratcheted up. Mid-February, Conference USA. What else would you expect? 6-point lead right now for Western Kentucky. 15:21 to go here in the second half. Western Kentucky's made 5 of its last 7 shots. They've opened up a 6-point advantage. And here's another look at the last play before the stoppage as Babacar Fay's arm hit the face of Femi Odukali. The officials went to the scorer's table, and it doesn't look like they've ruled anything of great consequence. What do you think, Craig?
Exactly, because it was, we called it inadvertent at the time. Referees never made the call on the floor, took their time during the timeout to view it, and I think they've made the right call there.
17 on the shot clock. Hilltoppers go to Marshall in the corner. Moore trying to fight for the rebound, but it's out of bounds to New Mexico State. KC Ezeagu still in there for the Aggies, playing with 3 fouls. Rawls has returned from the shot he took a few minutes ago. Rawls, the former Hilltopper, gives it to Ezeagu. Petway not in there right now for the Aggies. He's got 3 fouls as well. There's Christian Cook with a bucket. He's got 6 now. Marshall on the take. Draws some contact. Howard went for the rebound. Aggies pull it away. Bodies dropping left and right. Here's Harris. Trying to go around Newman. Harris a long 2, in and out.
Western Kentucky did a good job of rotating around, covering the perimeter with the defense.
McHenry, nice feed into Newman. The touch wasn't quite there, but it's volleyballed out to McHenry. Newman will try a 3.
Howard did a good job of keeping the ball alive.
Hilltoppers are 2 for 13 from downtown in this game. And Cook will draw a foul on the floor. And Moore picks it up, his first. 3 team fouls against the Toppers. Columbay, Lander, and Edlin are going to check in for Western Kentucky. Cook is out and Jackson Posey back in for the Aggies.
Little confusion here by New Mexico State, thinking that they were going to shoot some foul shots, but the ball was called on the floor.
A lineup filled with 5 reserves right now for the Hilltoppers. Loose ball, Western ball.
And of course, Lander, he's started a few games this year for Western Kentucky.
Dante Allen took over the starting role when Lander started dealing with the concussion issues, and Lander just came back on Thursday against UTEP. Columbay lost it, and it's out of bounds to New Mexico State.
Columbay's had a tendency this year of, on his drives, of being able to not go in there strong enough and losing the ball, turning it over. That was just another example.
4-point game inside of 14 minutes to go. Rawls gets around Howard to the corner for Oducali. Wasn't there. Edlin up to Columbay, and he got it. Terrific vision by Jack Edlin.
Sure was. That's one thing he does. He does a good job of keeping his head up, pushing the ball up the court.
A couple of true freshmen on the floor right now for Western Kentucky with Moore and Edlin. Here's Rawls, and he draws contact from Jack Edlin. The shot will not count.
New Mexico State, the last few possessions, they've brought their big guy out high on the floor to help open up the lane for some of these type of drives like Jordan Rawls just had here. Of course, the foul occurred earlier before the shot.
So 20 on the shot clock, 6-point game. Aggies have not scored in the last 2 minutes. Harris, tough shot. And Tegan Moore's got the rebound. Edlin leaves for Columbay, passed it up. Now he'll take it and hit it.
Western needed that from deep, only their 3rd three-pointer of the game.
And just the 3rd three-pointer of the season for Enoch Columbay. They dared him to take it. He took it, and it's a 9-point lead for the Hilltoppers, their largest of the game.
Well, and it's brought life into this crowd here at Western Kentucky. The pace of this game has started to favor Western Kentucky a lot more here in the second half.
12 and a half to go, and the Hilltoppers have opened up a 9-point advantage on Senior Day. Hilltoppers have opened up a 9-point lead here on their home floor, and they are so good in this building. 11-1 on the season. They're getting a battle today from New Mexico State. They've had to go to the bench. Supporting cast has stepped up, including Enoch Colombe.
Yeah, nice throw ahead by Edlin, and then finding Colombe, and then here's Colombe just taking his time with a little step back three-pointer. Only his third three-pointer of the year. He knew it once when he let it go.
Colombe right now has 11 points, and that matches his season high. He had 11 against Abilene Christian right before New Year's, so he's having one of his bigger games of the year. Moore's got 10 off the bench. Hilltoppers have gotten a lot of points today from their reserves. 21-5. They are outscoring the Aggies bench. And a whistle, and that's going to be a foul against Christian Lander.
He was trying to play aggressively, but he also was trying to take away too much space that time.
And now another one, and another one on Lander.
Trying to fight over the top. Lander's trying to say that, well, there was a little movement out there by
Harris. Leaves one back for Rawls. They need it, didn't get it. And the rebound is grabbed by Colombe. Edlin with a spin, leaves for Howard, and he got fouled. O'Ducali was not going to give him the satisfaction of the dunk.
No, good thing. And then Edlin made a heck of a drop-off pass, went to the floor, and had two big guys coming down at him. Here he is off the spin. Nice dish. Howard just unable to finish that. But the pass was all set up by Edlin.
And Howard hits the first. Craig, you played college basketball at a high level. It feels like, look, there are some games where a good team is going to have their stars just kind of do what they do and take over. But if you're going to win 20-plus games and be a good postseason team, you have to win some games where the supporting cast gets it done, right?
Exactly. That's a good analogy, good call there, because Western Kentucky's bench is, as you said, reserves have really stepped up this game, and that's what Coach Lutz, you know, he's getting some production out of them, and he's staying with them.
And in terms of bench points, Western Kentucky is one of the better teams in the nation at getting contributions from their reserves. This is not out of the ordinary necessarily for them. They're up by 11, trying to pull away. They're on a 7-0 run. This crowd will go off if they can score here. And Colombe misses, tries again, missed that one. And it's ultimately grabbed inside by Iziagu.
Two good looks, just couldn't get it to go.
The Aggies have not scored in over 4 minutes. Rawls can't get the lid off of it. This game was tied at halftime at 33. Remember, the Hilltoppers average 80 points per game. That's kind of their key number. They get to 80, they are extremely tough to beat. This has been a low-scoring grinder. They're starting to come along now. Colombe went for the rebound. It's out of bounds to New Mexico State.
Yeah, the pace offensively is favoring Western Kentucky, outscoring them 18-7 here in the second half.
Edlin out. McHenry back in.
You know, it's hard to win on the road when you're only scoring 7 second-half points in 9.5 minutes, and that's why this New Mexico State squad is 0-12 on the road. Been a tough grind for them.
And this is where the foul trouble they're dealing with and the depth that they're dealing with can catch up to them too, I would think.
Sure can.
Petway. Boy, they needed that.
Nice backdoor cut.
Petway's got 4. He's playing through 3 fouls right now. Ezeagu has 3 fouls. He's getting a breather. It's a 9-point game. McHenry, the shake and bake. Blocked away. Good defense inside by Odukali. And the Aggies can't convert at the other end.
McHenry had a nice drive, but he's a left-handed player and had to bring the ball back into the face of Udukali, and he defended it well.
McHenry has 10 right now. If the Aggies did one thing when they knocked off the Hilltoppers last month, it was control Don McHenry. He only had 1 point in that game. He was 0 of 8 from the field. And it was a huge comeback win for New Mexico State. In fact, it was one of the largest comebacks in college basketball history. They were down by 23 in the second half as Moore traveled. So New Mexico State at home against Western last month, down 23 points in the second half, came back and won by 2, the 22nd largest second half comeback in Division I college basketball history. Jason Hooten said it might be the greatest win I've ever had, given what they came back from in that second half. So don't count the Aggies out, and you know the Hilltoppers are mindful of what happened in Las Cruces last month. McHenry. Colombe staying aggressive, and he draws a foul on the floor. And both teams are close to the bonus now. They've each got 16 fouls. And that one is on Odukali.
Into the game for the Hilltoppers, number 24,
Tyrone Marshall back in for Colombe.
Colombe is another left-handed player, but he does like to go to his right quite a bit. Boy, Howard was battling inside.
And Moore got fouled. And Tegan Moore will go to the free throw line. That's going to be on Jonathan Kanyanga. He's got 3 now. So they got 3 different guys in what is not a particularly deep rotation, battling with 3 fouls. And Petway and Kanyanga are in there. Ezeagu is still on the bench.
You know, we've seen Tegan Moore. He attempted a 3-pointer early in this game, but he's at his best when he's driving the basketball and looking for that contact.
He's got a dozen now as he makes them both. And the Hilltoppers have opened up an 11-point lead. Where do the Aggies go needing a basket? They'll try it with Cook. Big 3 by Christian Cook.
Is that his first 3? He normally shoots better than 50% of his shots or his attempts, but he's really looking for the 2-point shots so far in this game.
Here's Howard inside.
Howard
He's got
had
his first field goal of the day.
Yeah, Howard had great positioning for that. And I think his teammates have really gotten better as far as where to deliver the basketball, that he can have success on the catch.
Howard, one of the 3 Hilltoppers being recognized today on Senior Day. 8 minutes left, 10-point game. Odukali against Lander. Spins, nice move. And the finish on the second try, no good for Odukali. Boy, he did everything but score it there. And it's out of bounds. Western Kentucky ball. 10-point advantage for the Hilltoppers, under 8 to go. Down the stretch we go here in Bowling Green. Western Kentucky leads New Mexico State 55-45, under 8 minutes to go here on the Hill. So glad you're with us today. Jeff Hem, Craig McCormick, and our terrific ESPN Plus crew. Winning on the road in Conference USA has been a tremendous challenge this year. Louisiana Tech, which is one of the 2 teams at the top of the conference, is the only team in the conference with a winning road record in the league. This is a New Mexico State team that does not have any road wins on the year. Western saw UTEP here on Thursday, and the Miners were in that same boat. So you're combining the Hilltoppers' grade at home. The Aggies struggle on the road, and everybody's struggled on the road in the league this year. So we're heading down the stretch, and if New Mexico State is going to get this done, they'll have to get some stops. Dante Allen on the miss. Marshall to Howard, 2 more.
Yep. Howard's been, he's had a stretch here of the last 8 or 10 games where he's been a lot more effective inside. But Coach Hooten that last time went to a 2-3 zone, trying to switch things up.
Largest lead of the game now for Western Kentucky, a 12-point advantage and a foul. And that's on Christian Lander, who's now got 3. And that's going to send the Aggies to the line. Both teams are now in the bonus. It'll be Rawls to get free throws. A little bit of a bump there, Craig?
Just a little bit. But that's one of the things is in watching Christian Lander some this year is he has a tendency to create those bump contacts and get himself into some minor foul trouble.
Both of these teams average 14 made free throws per game. There's been a large difference so far today at the stripe. Hilltoppers are 10 of 11. And that free throw a second ago by Rawls, just the second free throw made today by the Aggies. And they still have just 2. They have not gotten to the line nearly the way they normally do. Allen left wide open, got it. That's a breakdown by the Aggies.
Yeah, no defenders around. Allen had a clear look on that one. When he gets his feet set up underneath him, he's pretty deadly from the 3-point range.
39% on the year and nobody within a zip code on that one. Now it's up to 14 points for the Hilltoppers. Aggies are in the danger zone. Rawls unable to answer.
That's not one of Rawls' strength, is taking 3-point shots.
Marshall. And this place would have erupted on that one. Marshall's not scored still today. Odukali up against Allen. And now it's Cook. Isiagu back in there with 3 fouls. Petway's wide open. Too strong.
Well, we saw Western Kentucky, New Mexico State has really extended their offense because Western is defending them well. Howard, nice use of the left, nice move inside. But coming back down here, New Mexico State had 8 offensive rebounds in the first half. They only have 1. So that's kind of telling you about the intensity that Western Kentucky is playing with, keeping them off the offensive glass and going to go get the basketball.
And all 8 of Howard's points have come in the second half. The interior game is switched right now. And Edlin gets called for a foul. Or are they giving it to Howard? It's going to send the Aggies to the line. And it is going to be on Howard, his 3rd.
Called a little push in the back before Edlin came in there, tried to get the ball.
Babacar Faye will come back in for him. Steve Lutz with a little bit of a smile, his way of showing disagreement with the call without hollering at anybody. And Isiagu hits the front end.
And you mentioned Howard scoring 8 in the second half. Of course, he got saddled with 2 fouls in the first half and sacked quite a bit. So good to see his production come back.
Isiagu hits them both. So it's a 14-point game. You got 5.5 minutes left. This becomes interesting, Craig. Steve Lutz the other day said, look, we play up-tempo. We easily can get to 4th gear. Our challenge this year sometimes, in New Mexico State, the previous matchup with the Aggies would be Exhibit A, is when we back off to 3rd and 2nd gear, we all of a sudden struggle in that way. So can they finish this game with this lead they've built? There's Newman starting to answer that question.
That'll keep you in 4th gear.
Yep.
But one of the other factors for this Western Kentucky squad is when they have these scoring droughts, a lot of it is because of sloppy play. turnovers, unforced turnovers, but we haven't seen that today.
Up to a 17-point advantage now after that big three by Brandon Newman. Harris in trouble, trying to dribble away. Shot clock at 10. Jackson Posey scores. It was in the column, in the cylinder, and it got tapped out. So the basket will count. And Jalen Jackson Posey's got 5.
Yeah, New Mexico State did a good job. Western Kentucky was coming out trying to double team them here at half court, and they did a good job of getting it out of the double team, and then they had the numbers on their end.
It's a foul inside. Reserve forward at 6'11", Yak commits the foul. Native of Australia.
Number 5, Babacar, shooting 1 in the hole.
Yep, trying to clear out Fay there, and Yak picked up the foul. So Fay at the free throw line now.
Yeah, you can't use that knee to try to defend with.
Hilltoppers are getting it done at the line today. 11 of 12 now in the game. And Yak will come out. Odukali, Rawls, Harris, Cook in that lineup right now for New Mexico State. Along with Jackson Posey. One more for the Senegal native Babacar Faye, and he's got 9. A 17-point lead. Four and a half to go in the game. Harris will try it and hit it.
Good step back. Faye got caught on the switch there against Harris, and Harris realized and just stepped back and knocked down the shot.
Edlin running point, McHenry on the bench. Newman thought about it. No reason to hurry for the Hilltoppers, but again, that's not typically their style. Newman almost traveled. Allen, the pullback on Rawls, but he missed the shot. And contact as Jack Edlin picks up a foul. That'll be his 3rd. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 3:40 to go here in Bowling Green. And the Hilltoppers try to pull away from New Mexico State. $14-point advantage for Western Kentucky against New Mexico State. Under 4 minutes left. Hilltoppers trying to go to 8-4 in the conference. And Craig, Rodney Howard has been a big reason why this second half has helped the Hilltoppers pull away.
He has. He's been a big presence on the inside. We saw the slip basket that he had on the first one. This here, nice little spin move and use of the left hand. Earlier in the year, Howard was really struggling catching the ball. And I think his teammates stopped trying to go to him. But probably in the last 10 or 12 games, he's done a much better job. He's slowed the process down. He's getting better position, and his teammates are doing a better job of delivering it to him where he could catch and finish.
Georgia Tech transfer, Rodney Howard, Odukali at the line, and he hits the front end of the 1-and-1. 13 points for Femi Odukali. Allen the rebound on the second one. So it's a 13-point difference. And here's McHenry back in to try to nail this thing down for the Hilltoppers. He's got 10 in the game. Remember, he's got the streak of 5 straight with 20-plus. That's not looking like it'll continue here today. 9 to shoot as the Hilltoppers will keep it. McHenry leaves one for Fay, who got inside, took a shot, and a foul is called against the Aggies. That's on Jaden Harris. And so that'll send Babacar Fay to the free throw line.
Fay did a really good job. He kind of did a slip screen on that and kept his body versus rotating all the way around a 180, so to speak, like you would see a lot of times on a screen and a roll. He kept his face looking at his teammate, was able to see the ball, catch the ball, and go up and get fouled.
And he is now into double figures with 10 points. Boy, it has been a very balanced attack right now for the Hilltoppers. Everybody who has scored for Western Kentucky is between 8 and 12 points in this game.
And that sounds like the typical New Mexico State, because they have 4 to 5 players that are all in that same similarity, but not this game.
And on the year, outside of Don McHenry, who's at 16 points per game, Western Kentucky has 6 guys averaging between 7 and 10, and that's where they've been today by and large. Jackson Posey's got the basket there for the Aggies, who are trying to hang in this game down 13.
Aggies are trying to extend their defense a little bit.
And late in the game, you're trying to cause turnovers. You end up getting a lot of fouls, and so far today, the Hilltoppers have been phenomenal at the line. They are 14 out of 15. And right now it'll be Dante Allen going to the stripe.
Yeah, New Mexico State's 10th foul, so Allen will be at the line for 2.
75% shooter, the former Mr. Kentucky basketball and the former Kentucky Wildcat, Dante Allen. One of 3 Hilltoppers seniors being honored today, along with Brandon Newman and Rodney Howard. Allen's got 9 in the game, and we got 2.5 minutes left.
Top 70 to 83200. 3D, your free hot dog.
70-56. Odukali kicking out to the corner. Harris unable to hit it.
Harris has kind of been quiet here in the second half. Once again, no hurry by Western Kentucky.
Under 2 minutes now. Hilltoppers have won the rebounding battle, and they're the top rebounding team in the conference. They're top 25 in the country, in fact, in rebounds per game. Howard is going to come back in for Fay.
Jeff, do you kind of get that feeling to this New Mexico State squad that, you know, they're down by 14 and you just don't see the energy out there with them right now?
Yeah.
They really do look like that defeated squad.
Well, and they've had guys in foul trouble. They don't have a lot of depth because of some guys who are still on the roster but not with the team. It feels like they've just run out of gas.
Yeah.
McHenry into Howard. His big second half. This one blocked. Another try, and Howard is into double figures.
Good second effort by Howard by staying with it after the first attempt got blocked.
5 Hilltoppers into double figures. And a timeout is taken to get some subs into the game. Steve Lutz wants to get some guys in there. Looks like Tyrone Marshall is one of them. 16-point advantage. Hilltoppers so tough to beat at home.
Yeah, you mentioned Marshall coming back in for Western Kentucky. He's really struggled offensively in the last few games for Hilltoppers. Hadn't scored today. Here's Howard with that second effort that we talked about. Good job of staying with it.
And a little bit of a push on Odukali at the very end. Guys doing their thing, playing physically. I don't think anything dirty was meant by it. That's just what guys do when they're inside. And
sometimes when you're big and strong, you need to show it.
Yeah. Newman, Howard, Moore will take a seat Marshall, Columbe, Lander, McHenry, and Edlin the lineup for Western Kentucky. Harris can't find the mark. It's tapped out, and it's going to stay with the Aggies. New Mexico State let a big lead slip away on Thursday at Middle Tennessee State. Now they're down 16 with a minute to go here at Western Kentucky, on the brink of dropping to 5-6 in the league. Odukali misses that jump shot. Hilltoppers can't dribble it out, but they will take their time on this possession. About a 20-second difference.
Home crowd here appreciating their effort, second half effort especially. It all started toward the end of that first half when they were able to pick up their defensive intensity and get some offense going.
And away from the ball,
have a little time.
Columbe got sent to the floor by Odukali. Taking this to the end. The contact and the physicality is going all the way to the very end.
Well, Columbe was trying to post up hard. And they were fighting in there pretty good. Not fighting, but just positioning themselves.
That's 3 on Odukali. Tegan Moore is going to come back in. Columbe is going to come out. And Iziagu is coming in for Odukali. So the two guys that were just part of all that contact are being taken out. I feel like the coaches are saying, all right, we're nipping this in the bud right here.
Well, and also right there, I think the referees went ahead and called a foul on each one of them because.
Oh, you're right, double foul.
Yeah, because he wasn't, Columbe wasn't shooting, so.
And they'll let the shot clock expire to give it back to the Aggies. You're right, it wasn't just Odukali. Columbe was also called, so a double foul there. So the players come out, and Aggies can get one more shot up here.
Coach Hooten still actively working hard over on the bench.
He's got a brand new group this year. They fight to the end. Today it was not enough. That basket is good by Rawls. And both teams are trying to get somebody in here at the very end.
Home crowd doesn't like the timeout with 3.5 seconds left. Unless he's got a 15-point play in his arsenal there.
And Steve Lutz is sending a couple of guys back to the scorer's table. I think on this senior day, perhaps, he wants Howard and Allen, 2 seniors, to get back in there. So it's 3.5 seconds to go. Yeah, Steve Lutz, I think, wants his 3 seniors to finish this game, and that is Howard, Allen, and Newman.
Yeah, that's kind of showing a little respect for your players, you know, to get that little extra home recognition.
And again, from Western Kentucky's perspective, they've got one more home game left, but it's a weeknight game, and on a weekend they wanted a potentially bigger crowd to be here to recognize Newman, Allen, and Howard. All they've got to do is get this ball in with 3.5 seconds, and this will wrap it up.
What happened now?
Boy, this has been.
Oh, there's another whistle. Oh, Coach Lutz took a timeout to get his.
There you go.
Get his 3 seniors out for another little hand.
Bring the 3 seniors in so you can bring them out and recognize them. And right now the Hilltoppers only have 3 players on the floor, but it's not going to matter because this one is over. And Western Kentucky improves to 12-1 at home. Boy, that first half was a battle. You can see why the Aggies are 500 in the league. Ultimately, the Hilltoppers get it done at home.
Yes, their key where they turned it around was their intensity, both on the defensive end. Started there, they pressed New Mexico State further out on the floor offensively, and then they started rebounding. The rebounding was a big key for Western Kentucky late first half and throughout the second half.
Steve Lutz and the Hilltoppers now 19-7 overall, 8-4 in the conference. And Jason Hooten and the Aggies are now 11-15 overall, 5-6 in Conference USA. Let's take a look at our Kentucky 8-1-1 play of the game. Dare me to shoot it, I'll shoot it. Enoch Colombe with a big three.
Yeah, he had a great game, really stepped up, but he knew as soon as he let this one go that he knocked it down.
He finishes with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and he is the Franklin Bank and Trust player of the game. Fittingly today, Craig, because the reserves as a whole got it done for the Hilltoppers.
Exactly, and Colombe was a big part of that. He played more under control today than he has in quite a while, so good success for him.
So the Hilltoppers still just outside of the top part of the league. Half game back, they will remain of Louisiana Tech, and then pending the Sam Houston outcome tonight, they're 8-4 in the league, and the Aggies will head back to Las Cruces 5-6 in Conference USA. Just a few games left in the league as we head toward March. That'll do it for our broadcast this afternoon. For Craig McCormick and our great crew, Jeff Ham signing off from Diddle Arena. 72-58 the final as the Hilltoppers get the win. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.